watched my last video, you would know that we are currently on a road trip around Australia. So we started off in Tweed Heads and the southern Gold Coast. Basically it's on the border between New South Wales and Queensland, and we are heading all the way up towards Cairns, across to Darwin, and then down to Perth, and then finishing in Perth. So very, very exciting. Basically the first part of our journey, we headed up to Airlie Beach. So originally the plan was to spend a little bit of time getting up there, go and see a few places along the way. However, unfortunately we did need a few maintenance bits doing on the van, and one of these required a part, and this part took ages to get posted across. So we actually ended up leaving a couple of days later than we had originally planned to. So we ended up having to get up to Airlie in a little bit of a rush. So we basically ended up doing it over just 2 days, which is pretty crazy because if you know anything about Australia, you'll know that the driving distances are just insane. Like, we knew that it was a long drive, but we didn't realise that even just going what looks like this far on the map would take us basically 2 days to drive, and that was almost non-stop driving. So basically we went from Tweed Heads all the way up to Yeppoon in one day. We did stop over at Noosa Heads for lunch, which was really lovely. I would have liked to spend a bit more time there because it was really, really pretty around there, but it is what it is. I'm sure we'll end up going back at some point. But we had a little stroll on the beach, had our lunch in a park, which was really beautiful, and then we actually ended up carrying on and we went to Yeppoon and we ended up staying there overnight. So you might be thinking, why not just take a bit longer to get up to Airlie and just push that bit of your trip back a little bit? Well, the reason is we actually have an Airbnb booked in Airlie. So my boyfriend's parents were supposed to be joining us. They were supposed to be flying out from the UK, doing a bit of a tour around Australia, and then meeting us in Airlie. However, unfortunately, about a week before they were due to come out here, his mum had a freak accident. She stepped off a curb and broke her leg. So unfortunately they haven't been able to come to Australia, which is such a shame because it would have been so nice to see them, because it's been quite a long time since we've really seen anybody. So they haven't come anymore, but we still have the Airbnb booked and we couldn't cancel it and get our money back. So we just decided, you know what, we're just gonna still get up there super fast and make use of the Airbnb because it's pretty nice. I'll show you later on, but yeah, it's a really nice Airbnb. But anyway, so we did the first day. Like I said, it was probably about 8-9 hours of driving, not including the stopover. So it was a pretty long drive. And as well, if you know anything about Australia, you'll know that everyone tells you do not drive in the dark, and this is just because the wildlife all comes out at night, goes on the roads, and if you hit a kangaroo, you're kind of screwed basically. So yeah, we didn't want to be driving at night. However, we didn't really have a choice on this first day. So we had assumed, turned out to be wrongly, but we'd assumed that because we were on the A1, which round Gold Coast is a motorway, it's like a 3-4 lane motorway, that we would be fine, that there wouldn't be a problem. And it was just going to be like that all the way up to Cairns. We were wrong, we were very wrong. So we hit a certain point, I can't remember exactly where it was, and the motorway just became a normal road, 1 lane each direction. So we were like, okay, this is going to be a little bit stressful because we're not driving in the dark and we're just on a normal road. So we were very cautious and we took our time because we don't have a bull bar on the front. I think it's what it's called. It's like a big metal thing. We don't have one of those on the front of our van. So if we hit something, it's going to do us a bit of damage. So both of us were super alert. We went fairly slowly and we just had our lights on and we're just super cautious, and so we were fine, and we made it to Yeppoon, and Yeppoon was stunning. Like, we basically free camped in this car park, which turned out to be right next to the lagoon, and woke up in the morning and I was right next to the beach, and I went for a lovely little walk on the beach as the sun rose, and then went in Yeppoon Lagoon when it opened. So the lagoon is like a big sort of swimming pool right on the waterfront, and it's free to go in, and it's just incredible, like the most incredible views, so beautiful, such a lovely way to start our trip. We had breakfast next to it, went for a swim, was very cold though, but yeah, so special waking up next to such a beautiful place and then being able to go for a swim. And they had showers and toilets and things as well that we could use, which was great sort of for our first day. So we did that. So the next bit is from Yeppoon to Airlie. So again, we did that in one day, and that again was probably about 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of driving with a little sort of stop in the middle. And Airlie's stunning. The Airbnb in Airlie was really, really beautiful. It had like 2 bedrooms, had a huge kitchen area, which we were so excited about because it had a dishwasher and an oven, and our little place we'd just been living in Noosa Heads didn't have that. So very excited to do a bit of cooking. And we also had a garage. We had a garage space with it, but the van didn't fit in, so we ended up having to park on this crazy steep hill, which was a little bit stressful because it was literally like this. It was one of the steepest hills I've ever been up. I was worried the van wasn't even going to get up in the first place, let alone park on it. And I just kept having these like nightmares. This van was literally going to roll down the hill in the night, and there's some quite nice cars parked around there as well. But we managed it, we parked, and everything was all good. The only thing was there was one day where we had no space to park. Like usually we just sort of pull in and park at either the top or the bottom of like a group of cars. One day there was only like a small space in the middle, so I had to parallel park this van, and I can tell you that at the best of times this van is hard to park, let alone trying to parallel park on a hill that's like this steep. And the foot in the handbrake in our van is not a handbrake. You don't pull a lever, you have to like put your foot on a pedal and push it in, and trying to like swap and do that and reverse park. Oh my gosh, it was very stressful. And there was like a Tesla in front and a 4-wheel drive behind, and it must have taken me about 10 goes, but I did it. It was in, but yeah, a little bit stressful. So yeah, besides the parking, it was absolutely stunning and had the best time. Airlie was just so beautiful. Like the views from our balcony were just incredible. You could see all across the harbour and right out to the Whitsunday Islands, and we just sort of explored the town, went on a few hikes. We went to this beautiful beach, I think it was called Coral Beach, and again the whole beach was just made up of coral, and it was just incredible. I've never seen anything like it before, and we had the most beautiful views across the Whitsundays. And then we actually went and did a tour around the Whitsundays, so we decided to treat ourselves. And we could have gone on just like a normal boat, but I really wanted to go on a sailing boat to the Whitsundays because I think that would have just been incredible. But we couldn't afford to just get one ourselves, so we ended up going on this tour, and it was this giant catamaran, and basically you paid a certain amount. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but I'll insert it here. But we paid a certain amount and it included the whole day. So we basically, in the morning, got up, got on this catamaran. They had sort of breakfast on board, like croissants with cheese and ham and hot drinks and things like that. And then we got to go snorkelling at one of the reefs, which was just incredible. It was so stunning. And they even gave us stinger suits as well, and we got to hire all the snorkel equipment as part of it as well. Like that came as part of the package. So we went snorkeling, we saw some fish. The water was very cold though, like I was getting really cold towards the end, like my fingers and toes had gone numb, so I ended up having to get back on the catamaran. But then once we were back on the catamaran, we could just chill, like lie on the front deck, and then they had lunch, so they got all these gorgeous salads and things like that prepared, so we could go and eat some lunch. and they also had fizzy drinks and stuff that came as part of it. If you like wine and beer, they had wine and beer as well. And then sort of middle of the afternoon they had like some cakes and things as well, and some more snacks. Again, this was all part of the price that we paid. I was really quite surprised like how good the food was and how much food there was, and the drinks as well, like all for that price. We couldn't have like done it ourselves for that much, so it was really good. And then we also went to one of the islands, and there's a lookout point there, and so we went up to the lookout point and you could see all across the Whitsundays the gorgeous silica sands that are so white was just amazing. And we went down onto the beach and sort of paddled around in the water, and they had stingrays and things, which was so cool. I was a bit scared to go anywhere near them, but lots of people were sort of walking fairly close. But the water was just crystal clear and it was absolutely stunning, like so beautiful. And then basically once we'd done that, we headed back onto the boat and headed back home. But it was just so pretty, and even heading back, the sky and everything was just stunning. It was such a special day, like really beautiful, and I'd highly recommend it if you're in the Whitsundays. Lots of people do go on just like a normal ferry boat, and that's fair enough, but I think being on the catamaran, you were literally outside the whole day, and there's something about being on a boat and having like the wind sort of whipping through your hair and everything. It just, I don't know, it makes me feel alive, like particularly when you're going really fast. So I really enjoyed it. And then the rest of the time, to be honest, we just chilled. Like we'd had a pretty hectic couple of weeks and months back in Gold Coast, working really hard, getting the van sorted, planning our trip, and so it was really nice to just sort of chill in Airlie and just enjoy it. We went around the markets. There were some really gorgeous markets there with like loads of little local stall holders and things like that. There was a really good ice cream shop there, and I ended up going back a couple of times and having ice cream from there because it was so yummy. Again, insert the name of that here because it was well worth visiting. If you go to Airlie, you need to go. We had a couple of nights where there was a place that had pool tables, so we went and played pool just in the evening, had a wander around the town. One night they even had fireworks going off, must have been celebrating something, so we got to watch the fireworks from our balcony. But yeah, overall just sort of having a fairly chilled time, just sort of relaxing, enjoying ourselves, going in the pool. Yeah, it was just really lovely. Had a really nice time, and was a really great way to start our trip, so I particularly enjoyed that. So the next bit of our trip that we're going to be doing is actually heading up to Cairns, which is quite exciting. We've got a few places that we're stopping at on the way, but we're going to meet my sister in Cairns as well. So again, I'm so excited because it's going to be so nice to see somebody, because it's going to be the first person we've seen since coming out to Australia that's sort of family and things like that, so it's going to be really nice to see her and have a catch up. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and hope you've enjoyed hearing what we've been up to. And like I said, stay tuned for the next few videos. I'm going to show you what we get up to and take you on this road trip really. Alright, I hope you have a lovely day and I'll see you later.